The playoff picture is set, but who will take the AFC this season and head to the Super Bowl to take on the winner of the NFC? Complete AFC bracket predictions by myself and my friend Joe Morley coming up right after this intro.
I gave you fair warning.
They better get ready. It's Phil Flames. I'm with Mike on the mic. With something brand new, one time for your mind. He gave you fair warning. Now it's time to smack him in the mouth with that raw sports talk from the town. Sweet chin music to your favorite sportscaster. Mike on the mic with sports talk that matters. Reppin' for the West, see the palms in the logo. Mike on the mic, sports pod, let's go.
I gave you fair warning. Beware.
What is up, everyone? It is Mike on the mic, and I am Mike on the mic of the most electrifying sports podcast in the game today. And I am joined with my good friend slash enemy, frenemy, Joe Morley Sports. You may recognize him from Friday Night Wars, the hottest sports debate show on YouTube. Starring myself and Joe Morley Sports, and that guy that does the voices in between the segments. So thank you to him as well. Well, how's it going, Joe? You excited to talk some NFL playoffs action?
NFL playoffs, we are here. A lot of people didn't think we'd make it to the playoffs. We didn't think we'd get to the whole NFL season, but we did. Both of our teams are eliminated, so I'm kind of not happy about that. But playoff football is great football, right?
That is true. Thank you, Roger Goodell. You did something good for once. We appreciate you for getting us through this NFL season. Even though there's a few bumps in the road, Joe knows about those bumps with the COVID delayed games and pushing games up and back and all around circles.
For the Giants playing. We allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, Roger, we would like a reaction or response to the events that took place on that game. Anyways, on this video, we're going to be talking about the AFC playoff picture. Me and Joe are going to go over every single matchup and who we have winning every single matchup in the wild card round. And then we're going to go over our matchups in the divisional round. They're probably going to be a little bit different. They might be a little bit different, might not. AFC Championship game and which team's going to win the AFC. I'm excited to get into it. Joe, are you excited to get into it? Because I'm pretty sure we're going to disagree on stuff. We always do.
Oh, I'm excited. I don't like talking about the Chiefs, and I'm sure you don't like talking about the Chiefs. We're going to have to, right? We're going to have to.
I think we're going to be talking about the Chiefs a lot. Just a sneaky suspicion. Anyways, first game that I want to talk about, first game I'm bringing up, we got the 7th seeded Indianapolis Colts traveling to Buffalo to play the 2-seeded Buffalo Bills. Who you got winning this game, Joe, and what's some takeaways you got to look forward to in this one?
Well, hey, you know what? Buffalo Bills have been hot, right? You know, what are they? The number 2 scoring team in the NFL right now, Buffalo Bills. Number 2 scoring team, number 1 offense on third down. Number 1 offense on third down. But they're going up against the tough. I think this is – okay, here's what we got to remember about the Indianapolis Colts. We got to remember this. If they didn't extend the playoffs, the Colts would be sitting at home right now. This is that extra team that got put in.
Yeah.
That extra number 17, right?
Yeah.
So I honestly have to think that this has to be one of the best wildcard teams in history. Like the way that they're stacked, the way that they're put together. Their running game is there. Their defense is there. The only issue I have, and it's going to hurt you a little bit because I know how much you love him, is the only issue I have with the Colts is Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, I'm quite a Phillip Rivers fan, and I actually made a video today about my loyalty to Phillip Rivers. I am rooting for the Colts to win the Super Bowl. I just want to put that out to everyone. I want Rivers to win a Super Bowl, but I also like to be unbiased when I give my takes on what I think is going to happen in the game. And I think that destroying the Dolphins last week by the Bills might have actually come back to bite them a little bit because now they got this tough matchup with this team in Indianapolis that could be so unpredictable. They could come out and be a completely different team than they were the week before, with the defense being up and down, the offense being up and down. When they put it all together, they're as good as the Buffalo Bills. Don't get me wrong. They just don't put it all together as consistently as the Bills have in, the entirety of the season, but especially of late. I'm going to give a score prediction for every game. If you want to come up with one real quick, I don't know if you came up with one. I should have gave you a warning for that before. I know that Jonathan Taylor is red hot And the only chance Indianapolis Colts have at taking down Buffalo in this first round, I think, is if Jonathan Taylor has another one of those 250-yard games and they just keep the ball out of the Buffalo Bills offense as a whole. But I don't think it's going to happen. Jonathan Taylor's a rookie playing in his first playoff game. I know Philip Rivers has a long history. Playoffs are not, but I'm going to take a prediction of the Bills scoring 38. The Colts only scoring 17. Sorry, Philip Rivers. I got the Bills moving on next round. What do you think?
No, I like the Bills. I like the Bills beating the Colts. Like we said, Jonathan Taylor has become the running back that we've all waited for him to become. They finally trust him enough to give him the ball and let him just take off. And he basically won the playoff spot for them last week against Jacksonville. But it's not going to be enough. Buffalo has done enough. They're the number 2 seed in the AFC for a reason. And like you said, I think Buffalo does score 30 points because Josh Allen is the man right now. Josh Allen is dominating games. So I'm gonna go a little bit off you. I think you said 38. So I'm gonna go 34, but I'm not gonna give Indianapolis that much. I'm gonna give it into Indianapolis 13.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair. I think that the Bills should take care of business pretty handily in this game, just because even on the Colts' absolute best day, that offense is nowhere near as good as the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills defense is stepping up and starting to become a little bit of a threat of its own. So I like that prediction. All right, moving on to the next game. We got the Bills advancing over the Colts. We're going to go with the 5-seeded Baltimore Ravens traveling to Tennessee to play the Tennessee Titans. This is going to be an awesome game, in my opinion. I'm really excited for this game. I think this could go to OT like the last matchup did. How do you feel about this one, Joe? What's your look? What's your outlook of this game, Ravens versus Titans?
This game probably has the most has to be the most built up game of the first wild card weekend, right? Because everybody wants to see what the Ravens are about, because everybody wrote the Ravens off a couple weeks ago before the Ravens got their COVID and COVID saved their season. Everybody was right, and especially me. I wrote the Ravens off. I was like, they're done. And then they came back from COVID. They had the Lamar Jackson game where he took the poop at halftime, came back, saved the season with the best game against Cleveland Browns. And they became a totally different team. The Titans are the team that exposed them last year. The Titans are the team that knocked them out of the playoffs. The Ravens thought, they were going to come out and beat them earlier this year, and the Titans beat them again. So everybody's watching this game to see if the Ravens can get over this, It's good because it's going to be in their head. It's in their head. You used to play, that the Titans are inside the Ravens' head right now. And all I can say is Derrick Henry, can you stop him?
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of ground and pound on both sides, on both teams. And the Titans need Derrick Henry to go off. And that's what we see every week from the Titans. The game is dependent on if Derrick Henry can go off. And recently he has been going off. But the problem I have with the Titans is that defense has been struggling, and that defense has struggled all year. And that's kind of the problem for the Titans, because you can only go so far with your run game when your defense is not holding down the fort on their side of the ball. The Ravens are red hot right now at the right time. Lamar Jackson looks like MVP Lamar again, which is exciting to see, versus this struggling Titans defense. Last year's playoffs, this was not the same Titans defense that we have this year's playoffs play the Ravens. I think the Ravens actually get it done. I'm going to call a Ravens victory 31-28, but I think it's gonna be a very good game, very tight game, and back and forth in that second half with the ground and pound going crazy for both teams. What do you think? What
you're taking the Ravens, huh?
Oh, here we go.
You're taking the Ravens. See, and we said we're going to differ a little bit.
Yep.
I like the Titans. I like what they're doing. Yes, the Titans defense is 28th in the league in yards given up, and they're like the third. They're the worst third down defense in the league. But I like Derrick Henry. I like how they chew up the clock. I like what Ryan Tannehill does, win it. And I don't see the Ravens shutting down Derrick Henry again. But I'm going to make it a little bit closer. I think Lamar Jackson does do his thing. J.K. Dobbins has come on a little bit. Let's go 28-24, but I'm going Titans.
Okay. So our first disagreement there. You got the Titans going. I got the Ravens going, which means in the second round, we're going to have a little bit of different matchups to talk about. So it's good to see, and it's going to be interesting for y'all to listen to, I'm sure, as well. Yeah, I like the Ravens just because I think they got that mojo. They got that juice going on right now. And the Titans do as well. but it just doesn't seem like the same level. The Titans seem like they've just been, constantly good throughout the entire season. The Ravens seem like they've hit another level. They've hit another stride going into the playoffs. That's why I'm taking them. I hear why you're taking the Titans, and I think it's going to be a good game regardless, and either one of these teams could come out on top. Moving on to the final wild card game, we have the 6-seeded Cleveland Browns traveling to Pittsburgh to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe, what's your thoughts on this game? Because this game, I think both teams are looking to avoid just completely failing on this exciting season for both teams.
Well, if you're a Cleveland Brown fan, you're very excited, right? You're happy that your team's finally made it. First time in the playoffs since 2002. They finally broke the streak. But who do you got to play? Big brother. You got to pay big brother. And yes, you did beat him. But the Steelers basically said, hey, we're going to play our second string guys against you in week 17. You know why? Because we want you first round. We want to play you in the playoffs. The Steelers basically called the Browns out and said, we're going to let you beat us because we want you next weekend. Mm-hmm. That's basically what it came down to, right? And the Steelers almost beat the Browns with Mason Rudolph as the quarterback. The Browns were favored by 10 points last week against a Steeler team that rested almost everybody, right? They rested almost everybody, basically gave you the win. And now you're expected to go in there and beat up their number one team. Cleveland, great season. I think you had a great season, but the Steelers are going to come out and they're going to dominate. They're going to, that first quarter might have a lot of energy from Cleveland, but I'm taking the Steelers to win. I'm taking the Steelers to win. I say they throw up another, I don't even like their offense that much, but I think they're going to throw up 30 points on them. So I'm going to go, I'll say 33-17.
Okay. I like that prediction. Really just comes down to, does Baker have that magic that we see him have a lot of times, and does he have it throughout the entirety of the game? That's really the question. I don't think he can against this defense when they have all their starters in at all. But Baker does tend to show up for some of these primetime games. You see a lot of excitement in these primetime games from the Browns. He responds well to pressure, but the Steelers defense is just too much for the entire Browns offense to handle, not just Baker, especially with, losing OBJ. A lot of people hate on me for saying that losing OBJ is a big deal. They've been doing better since he's been out, but OBJ is another threat on the offense, whether he is going off like we've seen him do, or he's just a decoy that's taking up coverage. He demands some kind of attention. He demands eyes still. He demands coverage, and not having him hurts him in these games where you got to play a really good defense like the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Browns, like you said, they struggled to beat the Steelers twos, and they almost lost, to be honest. They almost messed up and accidentally lost that game. I'm taking Steelers 24-14 because I don't really like the Steelers offense too much to just absolutely murder the Browns, but I think that they have a comfortable lead the entire game and the Browns just run out of time. So there you go. There's our wild card matchups. We got the Bills for me advancing. You got the Titans and I got the Ravens advancing. So we differ on that one. And then we got the Steelers advancing. Let's go to the divisional round. Because I had the Ravens advance versus the Titans, that sets up the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Kansas City to play the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'll go over this matchup real quick, and I'll let you go ahead and give me your thoughts on my matchup, and then we'll go to your matchup for this because it's going to be a little different. This will still be a very fun game to watch to me if Baltimore can get to Kansas City, and the Ravens just have not been able to get past this game versus the Chiefs. Ever since the Chiefs took control of the AFC from the Patriots, the Ravens cannot get past this playoff stigma that they can't get past these guys. And they can't, they lost to the Titans last year, but really it's about they have to get through everyone and they got to get through the Chiefs. That's really what it's going to be. And that's what's going to be for Lamar probably for his entire career. The question is, can Lamar go out and throw blow for blow with Mahomes and this offense? Earlier this season, it was a no, and I haven't seen enough improvement from Lamar. I haven't seen enough improvement from the receivers from week 2 till now, or what would be in a couple weeks from now, to take the Ravens to win here. So I'm going to take the Chiefs to win 34-27 in a fun one, but I think the Chiefs come out on top at the end. What would you think of a Baltimore Ravens-Chiefs matchup?
I think it's going to be a good matchup. If that's the matchup, it's always a good matchup. But the Chiefs have shown that they can shut down Lamar. They've done it. The Chiefs have done it. They're a little different team than when they first matched up. But I don't know. I think that I mean, there's not much of a difference in our matchups because you're taking the Chiefs and the Ravens. Mine would just be the Chiefs and the Titans.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And basically, I'm just hoping that Derrick Henry can run all over the Chiefs as well. That's what I'm hoping. That's what the Titans hope for. That's what anybody hopes for. That's what any fan hopes for. There's not a big difference. The only thing is the Titans defense against the Chiefs defense and the Ravens defense against the Chiefs offense. The Ravens offense or defense can at least hold them, at least has a chance where you're looking at the Titans defense. You're like, it has to be a shootout. It has to be a shootout.
You look at the Titans defense, you think the Chiefs are going to put up 45 points possibly. It's ridiculous.
And what were the Chiefs? The Chiefs and the Titans played last year in the playoffs because it was basically the same thing where the Titans beat the Ravens, then went on to Kansas City, and they had a big lead in Kansas City as well and blew that one too. Kansas City actually, hopefully this bye week comes at a good time for them, and they've actually not been playing really well. They've been getting held down by some pretty bad teams. They're not scoring like they used to. We got to find out what they're going to do with running back because they brought in Le'Veon Bell, who they're actually going to have to rely on a little bit now. And are we really believing in the Chiefs defense to pull off what they did last year? That's where the iffy part is. So Andy Reid has his work cut out for him. Do I think they beat the Titans? Yeah, I'm gonna take them over the Titans.
So you're about to
I know I almost scared you there, but I'm gonna take the Chiefs over the Titans. Of course they're gonna put up 30 points. They have to put up 30 points, right? Yeah. We'll do like 37-24.
I'll take that. So the Chiefs struggling a little bit recently. I think that just has to do with them just getting laxed. Really what it is, and Andy Reid can give them a kick in the ass. It almost might be a good thing that they relax a little bit so Andy Reid can go to film and say, hey, look, because you relaxed, this happened. Stop doing that. We're not going to Super Bowl again if you keep doing that kind of stuff. And the Chiefs can get back to what they were doing for the last 32 games. So these guys are ridiculous. Anyways, that moves us on to the next matchup, and these two match. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Buffalo to play the Buffalo Bills. I'm pretty sure we're going to think similarly on this one, but what's your thoughts on this one?
Oh, yeah, I think we're going to go the same. Hey, for the Steelers to be as good as they are, the Steelers to be a 12-4 team. Did you know they are what? The worst rushing team in the league? The worst rushing team in the league.
Wow.
32nd. And I'm a big believer in playoff football, in running the ball. And I think, you know what? I like the Steelers early. I think injuries have killed them, especially at the linebacker and guard position. And now you're going to go against a team like Buffalo, which, Buffalo doesn't have a running game either, but Josh Allen makes up for that with his legs and with his ability. I think the Bills go right over the Steelers. They've already beat the Steelers once. What's going to stop them from doing it again? Yeah. And they have the momentum to get in there. And I think, they're going to be home. It's going to be cold. You're going to hit Big Ben. They're going to have fun with it. I think Buffalo takes this game, and I think they take it easily. 27-10.
27-10. I like that. I'm agree with you with the Buffalo Bills. This will be a battle, that Buffalo Bills offense versus that Steelers defense. But a lot of people are going to try and use that Steelers great defense they had those first 12 to 14 weeks and say, oh, yeah, this defense is going to shut down the Buffalo Bills. If the Bills get to this point, they just beat the crap out of the Colts, I'm assuming, right? So the Colts have a great defense of their own. The Bills aren't going to be scared of the Steelers defense, all the injuries they've had, and they haven't even been playing amazing the last, 6 weeks. I don't think the Bills will have any fear going into this game. There's not going to be really any nerves. They're going to get all those nerves out against the Colts the week before. They're hot. They're really good. It's going to be the Bills. And as much as the Steelers fans are going to be upset, I think the Bills take down the steel curtain. I'm going to take the Bills 31. Steelers 21, but I think given the 21 points, the Steelers might be generous. I could see 17. I could see 14. I could see 10.
Yeah, the Steelers offense is on and off, but without having a consistent running game, and you're playing these top-notch teams in the playoffs, you might be able to win one, but you're not going to win two.
Yeah, and that one's against Cleveland Browns. So, no offense to the Browns, they're not the same as the rest of these playoff teams, really.
No,
being
you're
honest.
Right. They're a young team and still have a lot to work with, and you take what you get. You take that first playoff loss, that you're going to get, but you're happy that you're there and you build off of it.
Yeah. It's a good experience for all those guys, especially guys like Jarvis Landry, especially guys like Baker Mayfield. It's a very good experience for all those guys. Anyways, like I said, I don't want to get too much off topic. I started that, by the way. I just want to point that out. That leaves us with the AFC Championship game. In both of our brackets, we had one difference with the Titans versus Chiefs or the Ravens versus Chiefs. Both of our brackets said an AFC Championship battle between the Buffalo Bills traveling to Kansas City to play the Kansas City Chiefs. This game, the thought of this game, and I'm getting it right now, and I got it when I typed up the notes. This game gives me chills. I really would be excited to see this game in the AFC Championship game with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. These guys, both sides, are going to put it all on the line, and we're going to see some electric football out of the Buffalo Bills versus Kansas City Chiefs, and I really hope it happens. I hope neither one of these teams choke, and this happens in the AFC Championship game. Who do you think would win this game, or at least what's your thoughts on the game?
This right here, this would be a game. I'm telling you right now, because both of their defenses are just good enough, just average enough, where they're going to stop and they're going to bend, but they're going to break a little bit. Mm-hmm. And these offenses are going to put up some points. Mm-hmm. And to have Josh Allen and Diggs fighting and giving everything they got going against the defending Super Bowl champions to get to the Super Bowl, I think you're going to see a Buffalo team that we're not ready to see, and they're going to surprise the world. And I think Buffalo Bills win this game.
Oh, Joe calls it. What do you think the score is, Joe? Bills?
You know what? It's going to have to be a high-scoring game. It's going to have to be. I think both defenses, like I said, one defense is going to get a stop, and I think it's going to be Buffalo. You know what? I'm going to go 35-32.
I like it. Man, this is going to be a great game, and I can't even say it enough. This is why we watch football, for games like this. The Chiefs got Buffalo early in the season, right? But this is a different Bills team. This is not the same Bills team that the Chiefs beat, in the first half of the NFL season. The Bills are red hot. And if they get to this point, they've rolled through some tough defenses and some tough wins to this point in the season. But I don't want to, burst everyone's bubble. On Friday Night War is usually on the bad guy that brings everyone down to earth, everyone back to reality. When the Patriots are making all those runs every season, we always said that this team is going to be the team to finally end the Patriots run. The Chiefs run is just beginning, and this late in the season, I think experience is going to be a huge deal, especially in this game. And I'm not sure how many of the guys on the Bills roster have went this far in the playoffs before. I don't know. I didn't look it up. I probably should have, but I'm just assuming that 90% of the players and staff probably have not been to a AFC or NFC championship game in their lives. With that being said, I think the Chiefs just barely squeak out a win to the Bills in a game that's probably going to go to overtime, in my opinion. Thanks to that championship experience, thanks to that championship confidence, the Chiefs are going to be going to these playoffs with. I'm predicting the Chiefs win in probably the greatest AFC championship game of all time, 45-42 over the Buffalo Bills in overtime.
Well, they played in week 6.
Yeah.
They played in week 6. It was 26-17 Chiefs.
Yeah.
And Buffalo wasn't hitting their stride. There was a point where that's when Buffalo was 4-2, and people were thinking Buffalo was on their way down, that they were overachieving a little bit. That Buffalo only held to like 200 yards in that game. The Chiefs almost put up 500 yards, and they still only scored 26 points. Now that was when the Chiefs were the Chiefs. The Chiefs have now gone this way, and Buffalo went this way, and they're going to meet where? Boom, right there in the middle. And it's gonna be a great
hell of a game.
I don't care who wins, but I just think it's gonna be. I mean, I'll take Buffalo, but I think it's gonna be one hell of a game.
Yeah, the 2021 to 2030 decade. This might be the game of the decade. This is gonna be an amazing game if these two match up, in my opinion. And it's gonna be exciting. That's all I really can say about it. It's gonna be exciting because both teams are gonna have that hunger to go get it. I think it's gonna be a lot like that Browns Ravens game. Both those teams put everything into that game, and I expect to see something here. Two very good teams, Chiefs and Bills.
Yes, and that's all we can ask for. That's all we can ask for is two teams battling out for their chance to win the ultimate goal, which is the Super Bowl.
Yep, I love it. All right, that's our AFC predictions. I appreciate y'all tuning in to this part. We're going to record our NFC predictions right after this, but I'm going to split them up into 2 videos so you don't got to sit through an hour-long video and take a snoozer in the middle, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, how did the Buffalo Bills and the Chiefs? You know what I mean? So gonna move on to the next video. Right now, we're going to record it right after this. I appreciate y'all tuning in, and until next time.
I gave you fair warning. Beware.
They better get ready. Yo, it's Phil Flames. I'm with Mike on the mic. With something brand new, one time for your mind. He gave you fair warning. Now it's time to smack him in the mouth with that raw sports talk from the town. Sweet chin music to your favorite sportscaster. Mike on the mic with sports talk that matters. Reppin' for the West, see the palms in the logo. Mike on the mic, sports pod, let's go.
I gave you fair warning. Beware.